Of the County Commissioners to order, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could remain standing for just a moment, we'll have a moment of silence. Unfortunately, we lost Ms. Robin Kurowski this week. She was very active in the museums of Kent, and that sort of a historian. So we'll keep her and keep her family and everybody in our prayers. Thank you very much. Today is a legislative day, and as always, time is allotted at the end of each meeting for the commissioners to receive comments from the public. We have 5 consent items. We have our regular session minutes dated August 13th, 2024. We have our liquor minutes dated August 13th, 2024. We have Chestertown Lions Club has applied for a raffle on December the 31st, 2024. We have Chris Walmsley, Director of Office Administration, Kent County Public Library, as FY 2025 Cooperative Local State Library Aid Programs Certification. And we have Dan Matson, our Director of Public Works, has two sewer allocation requests. I'm going to talk just a minute about that Dan Matson, the number 5, but let's do 1 through 4 real quick, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve 1 through 4 of the consent items as presented.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The only reason I left the sewer allocation request out, it is for and when I read it, it was for an assisted living facility, and it talks about they have an 8-bed facility now, and they're going to double it to 16, which makes them have to have sewer allocation, extra sewer allocations. But I called Shelley and talked to her about it, because I remember there was a minimum of 6 beds you could have in one of those facilities, and we, the commissioners, upped it to 8 in my time. I don't know exactly when it was, but there are 8. But Shelley, I think, called Health Department, Shelley,
Health Department and Planning and Zoning.
and said that they can go to 16 beds, but it's quite a lengthy process.
There
It's
are
not easy.
two processes, one with Planning and Zoning for a zoning text amendment and one for a licensure with the Maryland Department of Health, neither of which avenue has been actively sought at this time.
So they could get the capacity, they just can't have 16 residents in there until they get the health department and the zoning approvals.
Right.
From what we understand, you got, in order to go beyond that 8 beds, it's kind of, I don't want to say easy to get the first 8,
Right.
but to go over that, it's pretty lengthy. It's a
that's fine.
pretty lengthy process. So, I mean, I have no problem in awarding them these sewer allocations if they want to buy, if they want.
One of the things I'm thinking of, in order to get some of these licenses, they may need to prove to the state regulatory agencies that they do
That
have
they
the sewer
have this ahead of
capacity.
time. You're probably right.
Right,
about
so
that.
I'm thinking they need to do this before they can get those other approvals. But they would need to understand that, we have policy for these, and if they don't get the approvals, they're still out the money for the allocation.
It's my understanding that you can table this tonight and wait for the other processes to pan out, to go ahead and do their course. And then we can revisit the 2 water or the 2 sewer allocations at that time. So it's not going to hold up either avenue, from my understanding.
So they could still
Okay.
go forward with their application
Right.
without them getting the
Right.
license. That way, they don't have to put up the money.
That's correct,
Yeah.
right.
Because I
At
can
this
see
point.
that as a hardship if they're denied.
Right.
And then they have an allocation they paid for that they can't use.
Well, they need two, they're applying
two.
for two of them, so
Right.
that was my only
Yeah, that could be
concern. I
expensive.
mean, I don't want them to have to pay for something, they're
And they-
not even gonna use for a year or two.
Right,
going
they
through this
likely wouldn't even touch those allocations and pay for them until the other avenues were completed, so there's no hurry on this.
So I guess we could approve it and just give them
You
a
could.
letter that it's available and you qualify for the allocation. It would keep them from having to pay ahead of time for something.
Correct.
The only thing is, and I don't know how many allocations we have to give, but they're generally first come, first serve. They're a finite amount, so if somebody else who was qualified got them and paid for them, they would be ahead of the line of somebody that hasn't paid.
According to Dan, we've got plenty of allocations, so that's not even an issue.
Not an issue, that's good.
Okay, so they've requested it, and I really don't have a problem with it. I just wanted to point out that,
Sure.
you know, what this was all about, so I'll entertain a motion if you want
I'm
to
just
go ahead.
thinking we can tell them that upon payment, they can have an application, or
Right.
excuse me, an allocation.
Right, because it still has to, a Public Works agreement would still have to come in front
Right.
of you. This is just the first piece of this 1/3 of the process.
Right.
So it's not finished, this would just be approval of the allocations, and then you would sign a Public Works agreement at the time that they actually obtain.
Right. That way they can
Allocations.
represent to the agencies that they need to get approvals from, that
Yeah, 'cause
they're
if
not
they-
gonna have a problem getting an
I'm
app.
sure if they're
you know.
going through this process, one of the things they got to prove is that they got proper public
Right.
sewer or something probably, or at least a way to.
I know that according
get
to
it.
Bill Webb, one of the things that they're really gonna be looking at is well testing. So I think the MDH is more concerned about that at this point in time in that process than the actual sewer, knowing that there's sewer capacity.
Well, based on Dan saying we got plenty of allocation, I don't see, I don't have a problem with us.
Yeah, you can do
Approve
either.
this.
You could table it for now, or you could approve them.
If you don't mind, let's get it,
You
let's
approve
do it.
them, just subject to them paying for the cost. And
Yeah, I don't
we
want to
haven't
hold
had-
anybody up. I
Right.
just, I knew that there was an issue with the
Right.
number of beds, because we dealt with it when we went from 6 to 8.
Right.
That seemed to be the magic number, but I didn't think you could go higher than that, but unless you were one of these big facilities, I didn't know,
Yeah,
but.
there are some jurisdictions where the zoning limits it to 8. I know that some municipalities do that, but
Right.
I don't think that applies here.
That does. So our zoning limitations are 8,
8.
so it would have to be a zoning text amendment through planning and zoning to increase it to 16. So there's no say in what would happen with that process.
So they've got a long road ahead of
Yeah,
them.
not to mention, it's an expansion of the building, so they would have to go through the actual building permit process.
I would say you can approve it subject to them paying. It's not final until they pay for the allocation, and I think we're comfortable there because we know we have the allocations to give.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah, I don't
right.
want to turn anybody down. That's-
Right.
So I'll entertain a motion, John, if you want to do
Does
it.
the applicant, are they familiar with?
Yes, they have already had.
Entire process.
Yes, they have already had conversations with the planning department and with our local health
Right, because
department.
the text amendment's gonna,
I mean, that takes several months in and of itself,
It takes
assuming
some
it
time.
passes.
And they know all this.
Yes.
yeah. Otherwise, if the zoning doesn't allow it, they can't do this without text amendment.
Right.
Robert, do you have any questions?
No, I was just, I was, either we approve or just write a letter of recommendation, one of the two, doesn't matter.
I'll make a motion that we approve the requested 2 sewer allocation requests with a letter describing exactly the process that they need to accomplish before they can actually hook into the system.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Then we have 5 special Class C license applications. I'm gonna read them all off and then we'll deal with them however, maybe one at a time or. First has been application made by Kent Cultural Alliance for beer, wine, and liquor on September the 7th, 2024. We have Rock Hall Volunteer Fire Company, beer, wine, and liquor on September the 7th, 2024. Sergeant Preston Ashley American Legion Auxiliary has applied for beer only on September the 8th, 2024. Kent Cultural Alliance, beer, wine, and liquor for October the 5th, 2024. And the Kent Association of Riding Therapy Incorporated, beer and wine on October the 26th, 2024. Now, these are all alcoholic applications involving alcohol, and they are in need of a public hearing. We will allow tonight be that public hearing, so anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application, you can feel free to do so at this time. There being none, gentlemen, if there are any questions, or you want to, any individual one raises questions, or you want to deal with them all at the same time?
All the licenses have been reviewed, and
Yes, I've reviewed them all. Everything's in order. Everything's been properly signed for, and so I have no concerns with any of these.
for clarity, I think let's maybe do a motion for each one of them so there's no confusion. The first one, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for Kent Cultural Alliance.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it.
The next one, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for the Rock Hall Volunteer Fire Company.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it.
Third one, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special Class C per diem liquor license application for the Sergeant Preston Ashley American Legion Auxiliary.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, ayes have it.
We have a second one here for Kent Cultural Alliance. I'd like to make a motion for approval of the special Class C per diem liquor license application for Kent Cultural Alliance.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it.
And finally, I'd like to make a motion to approve special Class C per diem liquor license application for Kent Association of Riding Therapy Incorporated.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Okay. Tom, we've got 3 public hearings, I guess, or
No public
not
hearings.
vote, excuse me, you're right, votes.
Well, you have 2 for votes on your legislative session tonight. You have 2 matters for which you've already had public hearings, and you kept the record open after the public hearing for any written comments. None were received, and those 2 bills are Code Home Rule 5/2024 concerning pawnbrokers and secondhand dealers. And this clarifies that firearms dealers who are federally licensed are exempt from this legislation. And that was always the intent of it. We're just amending this to make it clear that if...
House cleaning.
Correct. So if there's a firearms dealer, a gunsmith that's federally licensed and regulated, it wouldn't apply to this. This is aimed at pawnbrokers, essentially, in pawn shops. The second one for third reading is CHR 6/2024, Clean Energy Loan Program. We've had this in place for a few years, and since we originally adopted our code provision, state law has changed. They've changed some of the requirements of the program and some of the names of the programs. So this simply revises our code so it's consistent with the changes that have occurred in the state code. And this has been recommended to us by the state of Maryland. Again, there were no written comments received after the public hearing. And the third item before you is a first reading, and this is Code Home Rule Bill 7/2024 regarding self-storage centers in the industrial district. Right now, your zoning ordinance allows self-storage centers in other districts. This would add the industrial district to it, and there's a few other house cleaning measures in the bill as well. So if you want to go forward with that, You're not going to vote on it tonight. You would simply be introducing it and directing staff to schedule a public hearing. So you would first make a motion to go into legislative session, take up these matters, and then after you've concluded, then you would make a motion to leave the legislative session.
I'll entertain a motion to go into legislative session.
I'd like to make a motion to go into a legislative session to discuss what our county attorney has presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We are now in legislative session.
And with respect to CHR 5/2024, I don't have anything to add other than what I mentioned a moment ago, unless you have any questions for me. And I will add that we work with the sheriff on this as well. Shelley and I and the sheriff, consulted on this to come up with language that we thought would accomplish what needed to be accomplished.
And I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Code Home Rule 5-2024, pawnbrokers and secondhand dealers.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, with respect to CHR 6/2024, Ms. Williams is here. Do you have anything to add beyond what I've advised the commissioners?
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Code Home Rule 6-2024, Clean Energy Loan Program.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
And now we have 7/2024. I see Mr. Tracy is here in the back. If you could come forward and just advise the commissioners with respect to this proposed piece of legislation.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rob Tracy. I'm an associate planner with the Department of Planning and Zoning. I'm here tonight to ask for the introduction of COMB Code Rule 7 to 2024. This zoning text amendment would do two things. The first thing is it would add self-storage units to the industrial zoning district, and the second is it would in the commercial zoning district, it would replace mini storage, which is the identical use to self-storage in the commercial zoning district. And this is really just a cleanup of that code so that both terms are consistent throughout the ordinance.
So, Mr. Tracy, mini storage and self-storage are essentially the same thing.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you're just going to have consistent language throughout.
That's our intention. Yes, sir. Self-storage centers are currently a permitted use within the village, intense village, and commercial zoning district. This proposed text amendment would simply expand that use into the industrial zoning district. On July 7th, the Planning Commission reviewed this application and held a public meeting, or excuse me, a public hearing. They forwarded a favorable recommendation to this body, and staff would ask that you introduce the Home Code Rule Bill in order for a public hearing to be held. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
I just have one question. What was the intention of leaving it out to begin with? That's the only, how come it wasn't in there already?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
I apologize. I don't know offhand
Okay.
why that was omitted from the
It does
industrial
seem
zoning
like an
district.
industrial zone would be an appropriate place to have a storage
That's the first
facility.
thing that popped in my
Right.
mind,
Yeah.
it's
Put
fine.
almost anything in an industrial.
Right.
I think probably what it is, nobody could list everything that's gonna come up sometime.
Okay,
And
right.
probably considered, well, everybody knows you can put this in an industrial. You could put almost anything, and that's what industrial is for. It's for your heavier duty industries and stuff to be, but a storage block, that almost doesn't. But you couldn't list, if we had to list everything that would go in there, the book would be this much thicker than it already is, I guess. So this is just a way of clearing it up.
Yeah, and I will say.
And someone has made an application to do this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is a citizen-sponsored text amendment, and I will say that the Planning Commission discussed this in length And they found that the comprehensive plan would be supportive of this initiative, of the proposed text amendment, in keeping with the goals of the comprehensive plan.
And to answer Albert's inquiry, if we adopt, or not adopt, if we introduce this legislation or this code home rule, we're going to have a public hearing, and maybe we'll learn then, maybe what was left out for whatever reason. Maybe we won't.
I can certainly look into it if the county commissioners would like me to, and I'm happy to
I was just
follow up.
curious. I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
a
have to
great
go into the
question.
tall weeds. Look, I support it.
Yeah.
I'll let you know that right now, so.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to introduce Code Home Rule Bill 7-2024, and for the bill to be scheduled for a public hearing, and staff will take care of that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We will have a public hearing. And now I guess we can go out, need a motion to go back into open session.
Thank you.
To go out of legislative session and back into open session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We are now in open session. And our first appointment of the day is Dr. Clifford E. Coppersmith, President, Ms. Karen Smith, Vice President for Administrative Services, and Dr. Dave Harper, Vice President for Workforce and Academic Programs. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I got a lot to say, and I'm going to make it brief. I think this is the most powerful delegation I've led to any county meeting in my history of the presidency at Chesapeake. I'm very happy to acknowledge that we have Ms. Brenda Shorter and Ms. Erica Osterhout. Erica is our newest board member, of course, from Kent County, and I think Ms. Brenda is considered everybody's favorite English teacher.
Could I ask a question? I'd like to ask a question first
Sure.
from Mrs. Shorter. Was Albert really as bad in English as for you to give him a D?
No, it was not bad at all. My memory thinks that he received an A.
See, there we have it.
Well,
There we have it.
well, I heard he got a D in that class, and,
One time.
Once and done.
well, thank you.
Mr. President, the reason we're here tonight is Ms. Williams requested us to do a presentation for you on our skilled trades and health professions programs at the college. I have a very brief introduction. Dr. Harper is going to run our PowerPoint presentation, but the most important people are going to come up in turn and present on their different elements of the presentation this evening. And so it's my honor to introduce them. I'll start with Professor Nicole Barth. She's faculty in the Agriculture and Environmental Sciences program at Chesapeake. Frank Williams is with us, a native son of Kent County, who has been developing our advanced manufacturing program, including establishing both curriculum and a new lab. And we have David Irby, who's our coordinator for skilled trades, who will talk a little bit about that. And finally, David Timms, who's our director of health professions, is a certified paramedic who instructs in that program, but also coordinates our other health programs, including nursing, radiation technology, surgical technology, and our non-credit programs in the health professions. They're going to present tonight on the development and current status of their programs. As you know, the skilled trades and health professions are strong workforce programs which interest and engage our students. I've been preaching this gospel for years, and I'm happy to report that both nationally and locally, there is great interest in them by students, both traditional and adult. Chesapeake is positioned to support that interest with excellent faculty and other resources that directly support the needs of our region. Upwards of 92% of our grads remain in the local area after completing their programs, with many of them working in our local business and industry and our healthcare systems. It is our hope some of them, especially in the skilled trades, will eventually go into their own businesses, a reality we intend to support both presently and in the future. I now hand this off to the experts, and all of us are available for questions should you have them. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Coppersmith, and welcome to all that you just spoke of.
Hi, how are you
Pleasure.
doing?
Good.
Do I have to sit down?
You do not.
Okay, fantastic.
You can stand up. The
Yeah.
most important thing is that the microphone
mic-
pick up your
okay.
voice.
I am pretty loud, so I think that'll probably be okay. So good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I'm excited to always be able to share about the agriculture program at Chesapeake College. And normally when I start off my presentations to talk about the ag program at the college, I normally ask the people that are in my session to draw what somebody who works in agriculture looks like. For sake of time tonight, I'm not going to make you color, but what I normally end up is with this. So most of the time, this is the picture that is drawn that, from most of my students are going to be students, open houses, adults. It really doesn't matter the age or the background. That's normally what I get. And who would you guys say that is? General job description. What would that be?
Farmer.
Farmer, excellent, good. So, and what I say to most students who come through is a lot of people are held back by that. When they think of professions in agriculture, they think farmer and they think that's not what I want to do. And I say to them so many times, there are so many other things to do other than being a farmer. Although myself, I'm an educator and a farmer. I love being a farmer, so I can't understand, but I do understand not wanting to sit in a tractor all day, as that's not the kind of farming that I do. Some days I'm excited when I can get into the tractor, because I do a lot of hand labor. So some of the things I wanted to just share, so the programs that we have at Chesapeake College, we have 2 in the field of agriculture. There is one that is a terminal degree, so it's a 2-year degree with the idea that they're going to enter the workforce. So that's in general agriculture, the Associate of Applied Science, and then we also have a liberal arts and science with a concentration of ag. They take a lot of their general education courses with 15 credits where they focus on agriculture, and that idea is that they'll head into a 4-year college after us to pursue continued education. Some of the things, so Chesapeake College is a small college. I think that is a plus, although we are not held back by what we offer, and you can see on the screen the number of classes that we do offer has a wide variety. Anybody that deals in agriculture knows it can be anything from animals to plants to soil to tractors, machinery, legislation, anything. So we try to run a wide variety of classes. I'm very proud of the classes that we're able to offer. They're all very hands-on. I am pretty lucky. I get to teach most of them. We have a few adjuncts, so I have learned quite a bit about different areas that I was not 100% about. And in the areas I can't possibly know it all, so in the areas where I don't know, I take them on field trips or have guest speakers in. I actually just lined up, I'm excited, Queen Anne County Extension's going to come in for our food science class this semester and teach them canning. So we get to learn all sorts of things, and it's a lot of fun. So some of the things that we have, I try to focus on hands-on learning. So most of the time students get very dirty while they're in class, which I think is fantastic. I'm always happy if I'm covered in soil or flour. I always say I also like to do a lot of baking. So you can see some of the things listed there. We have a high tunnel. We have a greenhouse. In that greenhouse, we have, I guess I'll do it in that order, a small vineyard, although that, we're learning. I'm thinking we're going to need to add a deer fence because I think the deer are snacking on our vines. We have a tractor, a composting area, hydroponics, raised beds. We just added a garden tower, and we also have commercial fridges and freezers to be able to process some of the things that we actually grow on campus. So it's definitely been a lot of fun. All those things that we have been able to purchase, a lot of that has come from different grants, where it be Meridaf or Farm Credit Foundation, Chesapeake College itself with the AIG, and then also Perkins has given a lot of money to that. So I've been very thankful. We've been able to buy quite a bit of equipment. Some of the goals that I have with students is, anybody in agriculture knows it's very difficult to just be able to buy a giant piece of ground, make the payments, buy all the equipment, farm, and be able to be successful. So I try to teach the students, we want some new and beginning people. We want to be able to teach them some of the specialty areas, maybe diversifying so that they can have a successful business until they move into, whatever area that they're hoping to farm in. I would say our strengths is community partners. We've got great students. That's the one great thing about agriculture students is they're hard workers. Most of them work all day. Most of our classes are at night. And they come and then they work with me all evening. So they're very dedicated. And then I would also say, it says dedicated faculty there, but I'd also like to just say Chesapeake College as a whole has been dedicated to seeing the success of the ag program. And as anybody who works in ag knows, it's an uphill battle on the good days And there are a lot of different challenges, time being the main one, funding, things like that, space, just having enough hours in the day to get the things done that we need to. But I would say that when you see students walk across the stage and they graduate and then you hear about what they're doing, it makes all that, hard work definitely worth it. And I just wanted to end with one of my favorite quotes: the farmer wouldn't be a farmer unless they were an optimist. So I would have to say that that's a great quote, because you wouldn't be able to be in farming if you got depressed very easily. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Good evening, thank you for having us. So my name is Frank Williams. My job title is Advanced Manufacturing Program Coordinator at the college. So I've been there for about 18 months now. Before that, I was right here at Dixon for a long time. So I learned a lot there and basically was able to come to the college and start a manufacturing program from the ground up. There was a lot of legwork ahead of me, funding-wise and getting things ready, but then I was able to get the position. So it was a challenge to start that from the ground up. Manufacturing, kind of like ag, is very diverse. I'm sure, just here in Kent County, we have manufacturers that do a wide variety of different stuff. You think metal work to food, so big variety there, and that's a challenge, and it's going to continue to be a challenge. But to start out, on the screen you can kind of see the courses that we started out with first. Keep in mind that we had to find the certification, the curriculum, and then probably the hardest part was the lab to go along with it. So similar to Nicole, we like to do a lot of hands-on work, a lot of hands-on training, which means having the machines to be hands-on with. But right there you can see kind of the path that we offer. You'll notice that the ones with the yellow arrows are part of a program. So there's not one necessarily end-all be-all certification for manufacturing, but there is one called a Certified Production Technician. That's pretty widely respected, and we need to kind of build the pipeline of people that have that. So those 4 classes that you see, you get an individual certification from each one, but they all roll up to that CPT. We are trying to get that to be a credit program. We're in the process of that right now. It has to be approved. And then, again, to serve the diversity of manufacturing, we also have courses that don't lead to a certification and are maybe shorter or even just for enrichment. And that's something like you see machining fundamentals or introduction to laser systems. Those are more shorter classes for general interest. And, of course, we hope that we're also getting people interested into this industry and then further into the program. We're starting a class next week called SolidWorks. That's another thing we brought to the program. It's a CAD, computer-aided design program. The college historically has had AutoCAD, which is mostly for civil stuff, but we were missing that SolidWorks mechanical design piece, which is what a lot of places like Dixon and a lot of other manufacturers use. So that's the class structure right now. The next slide will show you a little bit of our labs. So they're always developing. We're buying a lot. We're changing a lot. But you can kind of see in the top picture, that's the back view of our classroom. What you see there is a couple of desktop CNC machines. So they're portable, they're easy to run. But the cool thing about them is that controller, if you can see it with all the buttons on it, is the same controller that you would interact with if you walked into an industrial factory. So we're able to give you a lot of training on that. You see we have the computer lab set up there. Obviously, it's advanced manufacturing, and where the advanced part comes in is a lot of design, a lot of computer work. So typically in our class, we're sitting down on the computer, we're designing something, we're programming something, then we're standing it up, going to the machine, and actually making it happen. And then lastly, the picture you see, we have 3D printers there. So there's also kind of a list of equipment. We have 3D printers, we have laser CO2 laser cutters, we have the desktop CNCs, we have manual machines, and we're getting a lot more. And then these are all the programs that are coming soon. So hydraulics training, that ties in. One of the big things we hear from industry is that they need maintenance technicians, and they just need employees that can fix things and keep a plant running. And we try to guide any class we make with what employers are telling us. So that hydraulics training is high on our list. FANUC certified robotics, we're getting our license to be FANUC certified so that you can come to Chesapeake and actually leave with a FANUC certification. And then more machining classes, electromechanical, that also ties in to that maintenance need, and then the SolidWorks CAD program, taking that to the next level. That's all I have. More than happy to answer questions anytime. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, great job.
I think Mr. Irby is next.
Good evening, gentlemen.
My name is David Irby. I'm the Business and Industry Navigator for Chesapeake College, specifically the Skilled Trades program. So that means I bring people into our Skilled Trades program, and then I connect them with the employers that are looking for those skilled trade personnel through the institutional learning that Chesapeake College brings. So the other skilled trades practices that we have, welding and fabrication, that is led by Christian Benefel. One thing that I do want to point out, I've been here for 2 months, and all of our instructors are very professional and they are passionate about what they do. So I believe that's value added for the institutional learning that our people want to receive. The drafting and design, I believe that is under Chuck Davis, as well as electrician, HVAC technician, and our newest piping and plumbing. And he has core, which is an intro to basic construction skills. CDL program, I don't necessarily dive into that. My counterpart, Katie Rosenberry, she's a CDL expert, so she is my go-to on question CDL. I know the baseline, and then I hand her off so that way she can give her expert professional care that she does. In the Marine Service Technology, Bill Heller, is our overall director, and then we have individual certifications, the captain's license, pool operator, the home inspection, as well as the home contractor. Questions?
Good job.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Last but not least.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm last. I have an easy slide because I just have these couple pictures here for you. My name's David Timms. I'm the Director of Health Professions, and as Dr. Copperman said, I'm a practicing paramedic. I've worked for Talbot County for close to 25 years as a paramedic. And so we have 20 health professions programs at Chesapeake College. So I could talk about them and take up your entire night and still wouldn't be able to give you the details that kind of summarize all of them. So I just want to highlight some of the ones that we offer and the way that they work. And really, we have both credit and non-credit programs. So the credit programs mean that people are going to come out with an associate's degree and they'd be ready to go for either national or local certification exams. Those include nursing, paramedic, surgical technologists. So those are the ones that are working in the operating room with the nurses and physicians. We have radiologic technicians. So those are the folks that are doing your x-rays when you're at either your doctor's office or the hospital. And then we also have physical therapy assistant, which is in a consortium agreement with Anne Arundel Community College. And then we have exercise science. So lots of different programs on the credit side. Those students are coming through in the traditional, what you think of, our community college format, taking all those core classes and then doing the specialty classes in those programs. And then in non-credit, I'm not even going to list all of them, but these are all really entry level. So they take this course and then they can go get a job. So they're right into the job market. A lot of them are high need for our area. Like I'm from Talbot County, it's the oldest population in the state of Maryland, and you literally can't make a turn at an intersection without seeing a doctor's office, a pharmacy, or urgent care popping up all over the place. So huge need for healthcare. But they have EMT, we have certified nursing assistants. So those are the folks that would go work in a long-term care facility. We have certified medicine aides, which is an expansion of some of those other certifications. We have phlebotomists. So those are the folks that are drawing your blood, starting your IVs if you're having lab work done. We have veterinary assistant. We have dental assistant. So lots of programs in the non-credit side that are really valuable. They also have non-traditional funding sources available for those students. So students don't necessarily sometimes even have to put any money out of their own pocket because of the funds that are available to them. If you've had the luxury of seeing our Health Professions and Athletics Center, everything we try to do in that building is to try to make things as realistic as possible. I'm from this area, my family's in this area. I want everyone that's coming out of Chesapeake College as a health professions student to be ready to go when they enter the workforce. We teach all of our students to consider all of their clinical placements just like a long-term job interview. We have just about 100 clinical placements in the Mid-Shore region and now expanding also into the Western Shore. So all of our students do all of their learning with us in the simulation lab, and then they're putting everything into practice with real patients before they're certified and ready to go out into the big world as health professionals. And then lots of programs that we can then lead into. So like if you finished our nursing program, then you can stay on the college campus with the higher education center and get a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree in nursing and continue your education as you move forward in your career.
Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
I'm not mistaken, and I don't know, but a lot of these trades that you're teaching, some of them are relatively new, I guess, but that, if I'm not mistaken, the nursing has been around for quite a while.
Nursing's been around. I think it came to us in the early 2000s from the hospital. It was part of a broader movement of a lot of nursing programs were basically vocationally founded, and they were in hospitals. And then beginning in the 60s, 70s, and in the 80s, they started shifting to colleges. That's about 2015 is when the program actually came to Chesapeake, although we've been teaching the classes for a while down in East.
How many ladies and gentlemen do you have take that nursing, on an average?
David,
you
what's their
think?
most recent number?
We enter about 45 students per cohort, so like right now, literally tomorrow, we have 43 new students starting the program. So in 2 years, they'll be graduating with hopefully 43, but typically there's a 10 to 12%, retention issue, so it's either personal issues, academics, or they don't get to that licensure piece of it.
Nursing's probably the most rigorous academic program we have, and there's a national test that the nursing students take. It's called the NCLEX exam, which they have to pass and be certified to work. And I'm very happy to report our lately, in the last 3 years, our NCLEX passage rate's been 100%.
Oh, wow, good. Well, thank you.
You can see why I love Chesapeake. This is the best we have to offer, and I just love our people, and it's like this all over the campus. And it just makes me really excited to see where we've come. David Harper, Karen, and others have been leadership in this really this pivot to the skilled trades, and the health professionals, of course, have always been there. But this is the future of Chesapeake as it is across the country. And I thank you all for your support. Mr. Fithian especially, you've been a champion for us ever since I've been here. And we really appreciate the support of Kent County for Chesapeake.
Thank you.
That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Well, we've got you down here for Queen Anne's Technical Center. You want to speak to that?
Well, I think we presented just a couple weeks ago, just an update. We did present to Queen Anne's County was it a week ago? Last week, and we had a unanimous vote there for the project. So that's one more county on the yes column, and we're hoping you guys will be third tonight. And we're still hoping that maybe Caroline will have a shift, but that's just a hope for at this point. But we know Caroline has voted no officially, and Dorchester we also know is not in favor of the project for reasons you all understand. But at this point, we're hoping for a yes vote so we can proceed. The next step is the project statement, which goes to the state at the end of the month, and then we're lined up for hopefully approval by the state in the next legislative session, which begins in January.
Very good. Well,
At a previous meeting, we asked to maybe table this till we had time to actually get some numbers and so forth from our finance officer. And she has provided that to all three of us. This is a letter of intent. It's certainly our intention to support Chesapeake College with this project, but no one knows what the future holds. So what I would like to do is make a motion to sign the letter of intent for the Queen Anne's Technical Center renovation project to indicate that Kent County will provide its share of funds to design, construct, and equip the technical center. And proof of that was actually presented here tonight as far as the value of what you do there. So, but that's my motion to go ahead and sign the letter.
I'm going to second that, and I just want to say great job, great presentation. I was in support of the project before, but the presentation was awesome. What you guys do down there is great, particularly in this area. I mean, to me, it's just a perfect fit. I think the only reservations that we had were we just don't know what's coming at us with some other mandates from the state. But for sure, we want to support this project, do what we can do for you. So it's a strong second.
and I don't think I could add anything more than my colleagues, other than the letter.
Okay.
I can give you the letter. All of this in this goes with him.
We'd like to process it if we could have a moment.
Oh, yes.
At the end.
We better vote first.
But
Yeah, we gotta vote on it.
We better vote first. We're leaving the audience in suspense. They don't know what we're doing.
We got a motion in a second, but now we got to,
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and that obviously was the letter with the signatures on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Jamie, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in presentations, does it? Very good job. I would have stumbled
that?
all through that.
Is that a purple pen? Do you need a blue one? Oh.
What kind of pen is this?
It's my pen.
It's not September yet.
It's a girly pen.
It's pretty girly, all right.
Kent will be going purple, but not until next month.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks again, Dr. Coppersmith, and congratulations, and we look forward to great things out of Chesapeake College. Appreciate you and your entourage coming and letting us know what's going on down there.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Next up, then, I guess we have our Human Resource Director, Mr. Jim Miller.
Yeah, my love of healthcare made me stop on that one. A BSN and MSN program, that's phenomenal. Anyway, good evening. I'm here to bring forth 3 requests for conditional approval to make hiring offers. All 3 are emergency medical techs. I believe you have all the information available in your packets. If there's any questions on any of the 3, happy to go through them, whatever you need.
And this was all budgeted, these 3 positions. This is what it
Yep.
jogged my memory, but I think this is what's helping us finish up being able to provide 24-hour coverage in 3 facilities in Kent County.
Exactly. And
That was
there was
discussed during the budget.
And it's going to help the situation with that.
Betterton, right?
Yeah, specifically Betterton, and I think there was a total of 4 that were approved through the budget cycle. We have 3 of the 4 before you today. And I also think this is going to start to kind of kick off the idea that has been discussed about trying to grow our own on the paramedic side, get them in as EMTs, start the training. We've had some conversations with Pete and Logan about how they would start to build that idea. So these are good steps in a great direction for EMS.
Very good. And I see that 2 of them are locally homegrown
And the 3rd is
EMTs.
relocating to this area. Yes, sir.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve all 3 conditional and offer a conditional offer of employment to the recommended candidates presented by Mr. Miller.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Very
Thank you,
good.
gentlemen.
Thank you. Shelley?
Yes, I have one item for your consideration today. This is annually, the county has to attest to the core public health services funding that goes to the local health department. You have already signed said agreement. However, due to the cuts, the mid-year cuts that have been made with state funding, the local health department's core funding from the state is being decreased by $267,131, which means our local match that we're required to fund is also reduced, but by the amount of $118,004 for a total reduction in funding to our local health department of $385,135. This is not driven by the county, this is entirely state-driven, and we are required to sign the funding agreement with the updated numbers.
What services will the health department
So
not be able to provide due to the losing $200-some thousand?
that's a really good question. This year, we are not going to see a significant loss in programming due to underlap of positions, salary savings, and the benefits that are affiliated with them. Next year, they're going to have to look long and hard at their programming because the effects are going to be seen next year.
But do we know what programs that they would target?
We do not know at this point.
And this is just for information purposes.
Well, we need to sign the core funding agreement. This just tells the state that we know what our share is that we're
Oh, I gotcha.
required to fund.
I'll make a motion that we sign the revised funding agreement for the Kent County Health Department.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. We'll sign that letter.
Is there someone that we should maybe think about sending a letter on behalf of the lack of funding that we're not going to be getting
We could certainly do
in the
that.
future? And to ask them to reconsider and
I mean, this is a statewide issue. This happened in all of the jurisdictions, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to voice Kent County's opinion.
It's certainly,
I hope I'm wrong, but I think there'll be more of these to come.
I think there will be too.
Yeah.
yeah, while we're on that topic, I guess we can discuss, last week at Mako, we met with the Secretary of Transportation, and there, just so the public knows, there are no dollars coming to Kent County for anything. And they, according to him, there's no new dollars going anywhere. They're just providing, how did he put it, preservation, which I'm assuming is just maintenance of all of the roads and that we have.
It's a bleak outlook type of conversation.
Yeah, and he, quite frankly, said there will be less, well, I guess he didn't come out and say it, but there'll be less next year. So I don't know how we go from 0 to less, but.
Okay, so where is that?
I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter to the Maryland Department of Health expressing our concerns over the lack of funding for the future.
And actually, I don't know if the Maryland Department of Health is the right place to send it. I mean, we could certainly copy them. I would say that it should go to the governor's office. It was the governor's budget, but the governor's cuts.
Send it to the governor and then copy the Maryland Department of Health.
You good with that motion? I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it.
I hate to waste paper like that.
Send it electronically.
We send a lot of letters electronically.
That's the way to do it.
And we got some, next on the agenda, though, we have Board of Trustees at the library. That's letters that, of people, but we have to sign them. Okay, and now we're down, this is obviously a pretty quick.
Before the public comment and
ahead.
stuff. When I was looking through the agenda, I saw that Judge Murphy had sent a letter. He's been told by the security company, Atlantic Security, that takes care of the security needs at the courthouse, that they are in need of a new access control system upgrade. Is that something that we should maybe make a motion on?
You don't need to make a motion at this point. What's happening right now
He's
is
going to go after money, right?
Judge Murphy is going to be seeking money from the administrative office of the courts for funding to pay for it. So there's no motion needed at this time. And he's also coordinating with Public Works and the Sheriff's Office on the initiative.
Good. Okay, any other questions, Albert?
No, sir, I don't think so.
John?
I think so.
Then we'll see if anybody in our audience, this is public comment and media review. We got somebody signed up here?
Yes, we do, President.
David Foster.
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. As you may recall, several weeks ago, I came Also, I took advantage of the opportunity for public comment, and I asked about when we might get together to sit down and discuss the tax differential study. And I was very pleased after I made that request, Commissioner Fithian, you agreed that we would schedule a meeting for that, and I could invite anyone I wanted to. I obviously want to invite the author of that study, Dr. Luke Spring, from the University of Maryland. And then I have not heard back, and I do hope that we can go ahead and schedule that. I then went back through the minutes of the meeting, and you did have there that David Foster, Mayor of Chestertown, made this request, but the minutes didn't indicate that there had been a commitment by the commissioners to have that meeting. And so I was a little bit concerned, both by the time and the fact that it wasn't in the minutes. Now, this study is one we talked about back before the last election. And two of you were interested in that study and actually committed to supporting the study. Now, to support a study never means you support the findings, but you felt it was worthy of study. I then came back the following spring and described process that we were looking at the University of Maryland. I asked for suggestions for various places to study. No one objected to having this done with the University of Maryland. We subsequently had a contract done between Maryland Municipal League, actually the subsection of that, the Eastern Shore Association of Municipalities, and the University of Maryland. That study was done. It was completed last February. We distributed it. I was a little disappointed to find that some of you were not aware that it had been completed, hadn't read the study. I hope you have. And so I'm very interested in seeing if we can get this on the calendar so we can sit down and discuss this. And that's the reason I'm here this evening.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've been against this, the idea of tax differential every time it's been brought up. And I certainly haven't changed my opinions due to the fact that I think you can have whatever study you want. But the amount of things that the county does for all of its municipalities, I don't think gets enough credit. And I think that if we started, I just don't think, we've operated without this since the beginning of time, as far as I know.
38 years. Yes, sir.
Huh?
I didn't mean to interrupt. Please
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Please. Well,
I mean, I've never been
38
part of
years
the
ago,
tax-
the Maryland legislature established a pilot program. Subsequent to that, on a tax differential, overwhelmingly, when they went to audits, they went to studies, many counties raised the same question that you did, and 20 of the 23 counties decided ultimately this was appropriate.
But what's good for one county might not be good for all
Absolutely,
counties. And then
absolutely.
Are you suggesting that Kent County stop providing all the services it's provided for Chestertown over the years, many that are provided without charge? I mean, so we stop providing, county stops providing what it has been providing in exchange for a tax set-off or differential?
I'm suggesting that we have people with expertise in municipal finance look at what's being provided to Chestertown, look at what Chestertown provides for itself. And of course, this study was not just Chestertown alone. It also included Rock Hall. It also included Galena. I don't want to have that discussion right now. What I requested, and sir, what you agreed to the last time I was here, is that we would get together and discuss that, and you said at that time, we can go back through the video, and it will show you clearly saying, yes, we'll sit down, do it. And in fact, sir, many years ago, I made a request, and you invited me back in. Several weeks later, we sat down, we had a very good discussion, I thought. I said at that time, I'm going to look at some other counties, I'm going to do some other research on it, and you said, that's great, come back. And then there never was a convenient time to get together. So it's not that you've always opposed this. Commissioner Price, Commissioner Nickerson, you both said that the study was a good idea and you would support it. Now that we have funded the study, we pass this to your own accountants, your own financial people. Do they have any questions on it? Now that we've done that, I really felt that you would follow up. You gave me your word that you supported it. I don't understand why now. Are you afraid of something that might come out of that study?
Mayor, let me be real, let me just get right to it.
Right.
To start with, we don't never know what's coming down the road with state mandates, like the blueprint for Kerwin, for all this, the cuts that we're recognizing through the health department, through all these cuts. We don't know what the future holds. We might have good intentions back there, but I can tell you, I see what Kent County does for the town of Chestertown. I see it every day.
You do a lot of
Free
wonderful...
of charge.
Sir, you
Free
do...
of charge.
You do wonderful things for Chestertown.
Well,
what we want you to recognize...
I'm being very consistent with this because I've been against this tax differential ever since it was first brought up, and I'm still against it.
I hear you.
Okay.
I also heard two of your colleagues say they supported that study. Is that not true, Mr. Price?
Well, Mayor, that is very true. I did tell you that I would be interested in looking at the study. I have looked at the study.
Actually, you said you would support the study.
Excuse me?
You said you would support the study, and to date, you have never sat down with me to discuss it.
I would support getting a study done.
Right,
I
which
never
we've done.
never said once that I would agree with whatever the study came out with, or even disagree, but that I would be open to looking at the actual study, which you had completed, and you actually forwarded it to us. I can't sit here tonight and tell you exactly.
I'm not asking for that tonight.
I'm not done yet. I can't sit here tonight and tell you word for word what the study says, because it's been too many days since I looked at it. But what Commissioner Fithian, and I don't want to speak for Commissioner Nickerson, but what we're trying to tell you in a nice way is that we try to be fair with all of our incorporated towns. We try to support them as much as we possibly can. Just this past budget year, we allocated $80,000 for the public restrooms to go downtown.
We appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad you do, but we also just recently offered one of our obsolete dump trucks to the town of Chestertown, trying to help. We've got to be fair with all the municipalities. And at the same time, as Commissioner Fithian has started to say, we're being hit with all these state mandates. You just heard us talk about the health department. Where do you think that funding is going to come from? It's not going to come from the state. We need a new middle school.
Sir, you speak about a state mandate. There's also a state mandate that upon the request from a municipality, the county commissioners will sit down and discuss the tax differential each year. This is a requirement. It's a requirement whether you're a Shell County or a May
I would
County.
suggest that maybe we've already done that on several occasions.
Each year, sir.
Every year.
Every year, this is a requirement.
It is
prior
required
to-
annually,
It
but
is.
it's
But what are we doing
questionable as to
now?
what,
What are
to
we
what
doing
extent
now?
those discussions
I
have
was
to
gonna
be.
say, what are we doing now?
Every year, the
And every time he
municipalities,
gets
And request.
a little.
No.
well, and they're invited to a budget work session.
Right.
If this helps you understand it a little bit better, you've heard Commissioner Fithian say that he would not support it.
But he also
And
said
this-
he would set up a meeting when we could come in and discuss it.
We've already done that.
When? You said
I
that
don't have
on
the
June
exact date on it.
11th, sir. We can go
We
back
had
to
all
the
of-
video.
We had all of the towns in here.
No, sir. On June 11th of this year, this was after the budget, after the 80,000. I waited till after that was done. I would like to request that Ms. Heller go back to the video, and you will see clearly that Commissioner Fithian made a commitment to set up a meeting. I could come in discuss it, and bring whomever I wanted at
I
that
don't
time.
remember.
Well, then that's the reason we'll go back to the video.
Well, then go back, I don't care, but what you do, but I remember me saying that I would go read that report.
Okay.
But I don't remember anything.
Ms. Heller,
about
would you please go back to the video for us?
I mean, I can't right now.
I understand that, but there seems to be a misunderstanding, and that's precisely the reason that videos are done of this. And I'm willing to bet all three of you that you'll see Mr. Fithian making that commitment on June 11th.
Mr. Fithian is being about as clear as Mr. Fithian knows how to be. And that is that I've been against the tax differential since day one. I'm against it today, and I assure you, without any question, that I'll be against it tomorrow, and I'll be against it the next day. As long as we have monumental concerns in this county, such as the blueprint for education and the cuts that we're facing, you can forget a tax differential as long as if you need my vote for it, you're in trouble. You're the only one that comes in here and talks about it, and that's the only thing you have ever talked to us about. I would think as mayor of Chestertown, there's a lot of things that you and I could do to work together to make Chestertown better. But this tax differential is not one of them.
Commissioner Fithian, I'm not the only one who's done. We had 3 mayors.
Look, I've said all I've got to say. I'm against it. I've told you I'm against it. When I get out of here, maybe you can get it done, but I'm not voting for it. When you start putting a price tag on all the services that Kent County provides for your town and the other 4 towns, you bring that report to me and let me see that. All the services that you get out of Kent County, you put a price tag on them. And you keep talking about all these other counties that do have tax differentials. They probably don't give their hotel tax rate directly to their municipality.
Are you sure of that, sir?
I'm not sure about anything, but I'm going to tell you, or they don't pay for all their fire companies.
Are you sure of that?
I'm sure enough that I'm still voting no.
Okay.
I don't know how to make it any clearer.
Well,
And I'd like to make this very clear. Because you keep coming in here, and every time you say, there's 2 of you on the board, meaning Albert and myself, that agreed to look at a study.
to support the study, that was the
To
word.
look at a study.
No, the
I
question,
didn't say I would support the findings.
that's fine,
I
but the
said-
word
I said I
support,
would support a study. You did the study. You didn't come to the county and ask for any money. You did it on your own.
sir, that is not true.
It's not true?
No, I came, asked for financial support, you refused. We decided to go ahead with it,
Okay.
We voted no.
right? Right,
Okay.
right?
All right, I
Now-
stand
Okay,
corrected on
that's
that.
fine. Being
But-
told that we
but
have
you need
never
to
looked at,
understand.
I'm sorry,
You need to understand, I wasn't done talking to you. So please just let me finish,
that's fine, sir.
and then I'll be done. When you and I met prior to being elected a county commissioner, me, I said exactly what you said. I am interested in hearing what you will be able to come up with as far as a study. I never committed to saying I would agree with it or even disagree with it. But I can tell you this, that since I've been sitting in this chair, I've learned an awful lot. And I've learned that we do a lot for our municipalities. I also know that there's only so much money to go around to make things happen. And it's just not in the playbook, and that's a poor choice of words, but the playbook to actually do exactly what you're asking. Especially when, as Commissioner Fithian has pointed out, all the services that we do provide, paramedics. I know from being in the sheriff's office, I know how much help the sheriff's office is to your town police. You and I have even talked about that.
And we greatly appreciate what
And-
they provide.
And they have a great working relationship. But there's other things that the county does for the town. You know, that all seems to be forgotten by you for some reason. You should be thankful that we support you as much as we do. But you're so hung up on this tax differential, and then you want to turn it into a politically motivated attack, which I resent totally, because I don't make decisions up here and count votes when I make decisions. I make decisions that I believe are in the best interest of all citizens, whether they be from Chestertown, Millington, Betterton, Rock Hall, wherever, Countyville. I try to do what I think is best for all the citizens. And for some reason, you just don't get it, respectfully. And I'm sorry about that, but I agree with Commissioner Fithian. Knowing what I know now, it's a no vote here. So if you want to waste your time, I know there's 2 no votes and there's probably a third one. So you're wasting your time.
I would just like to say that I agree with what the sheriff said. When you talked to me, and it came up twice, we met at 98 Cannon, and then it came up at the forum at the firehouse.
Exactly. And that's where I asked.
Hey,
I apologize.
Thank you. And I did say I would support the study. Did not say I would support the findings, okay? And again, like the sheriff said, I have learned a ton, an absolute ton. I'm still learning every day, sitting in this chair. And so I agree with everything he said. I just want to add that I didn't realize quite how adversarial the town elected officials were so adversarial with the county officials. I didn't realize that it was as contentious as what it is. And I think we do a pretty good job of trying to ease any contention that has been in the past. I really do. And that's, I know that's a goal of all of ours. And I think we've done a really good job other places, and I think we're making strides in Chestertown. I think that this is a very personal thing for you. And I think that, I think we're going to I know we're going to disagree on this. You've got 1, 2, and now 3. We're going to disagree on this. But that doesn't mean that we have to disagree on everything, Mayor Foster. Just because we disagree on one issue doesn't mean we have to disagree. And the only way that we're going to make Chestertown better and Kent County better is if we can agree to disagree and move forward. But you coming in here as many times as you do, I don't want to go on I don't know how many times it's been, but it's never been, hey, you know, we're doing good things down here. It's, we need to discuss the tax differential. It's never anything positive. It's never another issue. It's one issue with you, Mr. Foster. And I think that's sad. I really do. Because I don't think that you want to be a team member of Kent County. It's my opinion. I want to be a team member of the entire county. When I ran, I didn't think of Chestertown against Galena or Galena against the Wharton, or I never thought that way. And that seems to be the way that you want to govern. And I find that sad. So I'm a no vote too.
I'd like to remind you why I came this evening. It was not adversarial. It was to follow up on a commitment that I believe was made to me on June 11th. And I've asked Ms. Heller, when she has time, to go back to that video. That was not an adversarial time. It was not an adversarial commitment. I asked to discuss something, to set up a time. And, sir, I believe that you made a commitment at that moment to have set up that meeting. All I came for tonight was nothing adversarial. It was simply to ask for an update. When are we going to have the meeting that you promised? I'm sorry you read that as adversarial. It was not. I will tell you that I have requested a meeting with your Economic and Tourism Development Committee to make a presentation to them. I hope you don't hold it against them that they agreed to meet with me. I'm sorry
I don't
that
think
you...
that's the way we operate.
We don't operate like that, sir. We're not like you. We don't hold things against people. We're a different group
I'm
of
sorry that you think
individuals.
this is adversarial. Actually, this is, you continue to come in knowing that we can't do what you're asking.
I'm sorry. What was adversarial about my coming back and saying, I'm interested in following
You're
up
the
on
one
the
made-
agreement?
You're the one said it was adversarial, not us.
I think Mr. Nickerson accused me of being adversarial.
You said it first, probably, I'm sure.
No, I don't think so. I believe
When
that
you
we're...
come in, when you come in and you want to go back and talk about what I said or what Commissioner
Is
Nickerson
that
said.
adversarial?
No, it's not adversarial.
Well, good.
But you're trying to put a political spin on it,
No, sir.
and that's not very appreciated here, I can
Sir,
tell you.
I'm not trying to put a political spin.
Because that's not the way I operate.
I'm in a nonpartisan
You
position.
think I'm doing this for political reasons? I have no agenda. I have no
Wait a minute,
personal
wait a
agenda.
minute.
I'm doing it for the best.
I haven't accused
For our
anybody
citizens'
of
best.
doing something for political reasons. Have I?
All right, look,
don't think we're getting
let me
anywhere.
make one more statement, and listen, as far as we're concerned, you're welcome to meet with our Economic Development and Tourism Board anytime you want.
Thank you.
My only suggestion to you, when you go to meet with them,
Mm-hmm.
if I was you, I would make a list of all the services that the county provides to the town of Chestertown and put a price tag as an estimated price tag at the end of each one of them, and start your conversation there. And then,
Because, be quite frank with you, Mr. Mayor Foster, the only way that there could be a differential would be if we cut some of the things that we don't charge for. And I don't want to sit here and cut public safety or anything else. I'm just using that off the tip of my tongue. And I know you're going to check the tape. So I don't want to do that to the citizens of Chestertown.
Okay. Thank you. You have asked repeatedly that I try to put a price tag on the services that we receive.
well, that would make me at least feel like you understand.
And sir, that's exactly
What-
what the study did. It went through and put price on the services the county provided to Chestertown. It also put a price on the services that Chestertown provided for itself. It was done by people who've done similar studies for all the other counties. And what they found was that consistently, Chestertown was overcharged by 10 to 15%. That's all it found, okay?
So what was the resource that provided the county numbers?
It was Kent County numbers.
Yeah, but who?
Whoever handles the accounts, the finances for Kent County. I put Dr. Luke Spreen in touch with Kent County, and that's what they worked with. We didn't pull numbers out of the air. The data came from you.
Well, that's fine. I'd like to know who gave you the numbers for the report. If you know, I guess you don't know.
Excuse me, I don't have the name at my fingertips? No. Ms. Heller, if we'd called up and asked for the financial records, who would they have referred Dr. Spreen to?
Pat Merritt.
Pat Merrick, I believe that was true. I believe Pat Merrick is knowledgeable about this. We didn't pull numbers out of the air.
Would that include in-kind contributions?
No, and I would say there are probably some other items that would need to be put in perspective that wouldn't have been able to just come straight out of the budget.
Right, so.
Okay.
when
And
you look
all
at
I've
these,
ever
You gotta
asked-
make sure you're not comparing apples
Apples.
to oranges, when you do this. I'll just add, there are requirements in the state laws, as you know, Mayor Foster, and the county certainly honor those. But as you also know, tax differential has evolved over the years differently. You have may counties and you have shall counties. Kent County is a may county, and that's how it's always been, and it's evolved that way. and services have been provided in that regard over the years. So certainly, there are requirements in the law with respect to meetings, but there's no requirement in the law that the county commissioners have to grant a tax differential. I mean,
There is
you
none.
sued the county challenging that, and you lost that lawsuit. That went all the way up to the state Supreme Court, and you lost that lawsuit.
That was in Worcester County. This was not our,
But I think,
But you signed
were
on
on
to
that.
it. You were a player in that.
Yeah,
we did it amicably.
You signed on with it.
yeah.
But yet you're not
Excuse me,
adversarial,
that
but you sued
decision
us.
was, no, that was Worcester County. We
Well,
signed it in
that's-
support. But
I guess, oh, sorry.
Look, I'm getting ready to close this meeting. That's what I'm getting ready to do. That's the one thing I can do. And I'm gonna stop the meeting. I think you know where we're coming from when it comes, we got bigger fish to fry. We got middle schools that need to be built. We've got blueprints that need to be paid for. We got a whole lot of stuff going on, and I don't think you're gonna get anywhere with a tax
And
differential.
I asked Mr.
at this
Yeager
time.
one question. Are the May counties required to sit down annually and discuss?
Yes, that's
this issue?
what I just said. There are
And we do.
requirements. That is correct.
And we do. Every year you get to come in here
Right.
and ask for a tax differential, and every year we get to tell you no.
The sense that I get, Mayor Foster, is you're asking for multiple meetings. I think you have a meeting, you're told no, and then you come back and want another meeting. So the question is, has the county met its legal responsibilities for this fiscal year? I don't have the answer to that because I haven't been at all the meetings, but from what I sense from hearing the comments of Mrs. Heller and the commissioners, it appears to me that at least for the current fiscal year, those requirements have been met. So you're certainly welcome every year to come back and have a meeting. That doesn't mean that the commissioners are going to give you what you want.
What I wanted was a discussion, and we did not have a discussion. That's it. But thank you. Appreciate meeting with you. And
Have a good evening.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have 2 quick minutes, just to rewind back to Chesapeake College. Nicole, I met her at a Maryland Department of Ag Education Summit.
Jamie, can you come up and
Yes.
speak into the microphone?
Sorry, Shelley.
Just in case anybody's watching from afar.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I met Nicole from Chesapeake College at a Maryland Department of Ag Education Summit, and I was just so taken by her passion and what she's done at Chesapeake College. I've been now with the county for 13 years. She's been at Chesapeake College for 7 years, and even though I interact with Dave Irby, Jason Mullen, and David Harper, I didn't know everything that Nicole was doing in her area, so I thought it was important for them to come in and share that. Not just with the commissioners, but with the community at large. And then also, next step is have Tom Porter from Kent County Public Schools come in and talk about the CTE programs, because there's a misconception that those types of programs are no longer happening in the school system, and they very much are, and they're very robust. So again, I appreciate the time for them to come in and speak. And just let's try to push the word out into the community that these resources really do exist to build our workforce pipeline so that these jobs can be filled for the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is time for again, anybody else in the audience want to say anything? Have a comment?
I think I might be opposed to this presentation, whatever's about to happen, because I did not get a call on Betterton Day telling me that I won.
You didn't win. No repeat.
And we didn't even
I
get
was
an
really
invite.
hopeful.
We didn't even get an invite.
What did she win?
You win the cow plot?
Calpop bingo.
We didn't even get an invite.
I understand, and I talked to the parade committee chair. You'll get an invite next week.
She wins the cow plop.
Not
I
this
gotta-
year,
and I
not
gotta
this
go.
All
year.
we had to do was kiss it. We had to kiss the cow.
The cow's name is Snickerdoodle, and we can make it a point for you to meet. It's actually a Holstein bull, but
Ronnie was quite fond of it.
these days it's different. I just wanted to make a clarification to one of the things Mayor Foster said. He is attending the September meeting of the Economic and Tourism Development Commission. We've been inviting all the mayors in. We had an excellent presentation in August from Millington. Mayor Foster will be splitting his 10 minutes with 10 minutes from John Carroll of Galena. And we'll continue through Rock Hall, Betterton, and any other communities that incorporate in the interim.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah, and we're interested in two things: what their business development agenda is and successes and dreams, and their tourism plans. And that's been an excellent exchange of ideas, and I think we'll keep doing it. We've asked Mayor Foster to concentrate on his business development agenda. He's got his own.
Very good.
I think it's great that you reach out to the municipalities and hear their concerns, the same as we do.
And you have the official apology from the Betterton Volunteer Fire Company. You will get invited next year. We'll promise it will be 95 degrees.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Dick.
Before we adjourn, Mayor Foster has asked Shelley to review the minutes from June 11th, I think it was. If for some reason that after talking with the county attorney, you don't feel that we've met our legal obligation to give them their meeting, I would maybe suggest that we consider having a meeting.
Can we do that? It's got to be an open meeting.
Oh, it would have to be an
Yeah,
open
open
meeting.
meeting.
So
it
you've
would be
already
an
met
open
your
meeting.
legal requirement to
And if we-
meet with the town on the budget issue.
And if we
invite
have,
them all in
and if
here.
we have, there's no need.
So every
But if we
year,
have it, then I would suggest
It's
that
an
we do
annual,
that.
you're required to do it annually. So again, I wasn't present at the budget meetings. I'm relying on Mrs. Heller. If there's any question as to whether that meeting was adequate, I'm happy to discuss it with you. But if that meeting was not adequate, my recommendation would be to you is to have such a meeting to be compliant with the statute. If that meeting was adequate, then next year you would need to have another meeting. I mean,
Correct.
you have the meeting annually.
technically, it's at the municipality's request, but we try to stay ahead of that and just invite all the municipalities to one of the budget work sessions so that we cover that. We don't even require that the municipality request it. We just invite them to a budget work session to
Excuse me?
discuss anything that's going on with them that they would care to share with you.
Right.
Just wanted to make sure that we fulfilled our mandated.
I think so. Something went down the wrong pipe there. But it's section 6306 of the tax property article of the state code.
Well, I also want to make sure that the town and the council, Mayor Foster knows that, our door is open anytime for any concerns and any, anything else that we can do to help the town. I mean, I hope they know that that's always been there.
I think, as you mentioned, there are many things other than the tax differential that the county can do for municipalities.
I think Councilman Tim
Brian?
O'Brien, I know he came in and actually presented and had a list of some things that we could hopefully help the town with, and we were able to help with some of those initiatives. And the tax differential is just too much to take on under the current circumstances, but we were able to fulfill some of the other, requests that were brought forward, which I would hope is appreciated.
I think it is throughout the town, just maybe not some people, that's all.
All
Motion
right.
to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?